Hello and welcome to lesson 8.3, Subtracting Mixed Numbers. Our SWABOT for today is that students will be able to subtract mixed numbers. The materials you will need for today's lesson include your math journal, pencil, whiteboard, and marker. To begin, please find page 254 in your student math journal. I would like for you to subtract the first three questions at the top of this page. These are pretty straightforward. All you need to do is subtract the whole numbers and then subtract the fractions and you should have your answer. Please pause the video and check in with me when you are done. My guess is those questions probably did not take you that long. You'll notice for number 1, I got 2 2/4, which in simplest terms or lowest terms is 2 1/2. Number 2, I got 2 4/5, and then number 3, I got 5 3/6, which is also 5 1/2 in simplest terms. Now, the next section of this page is critical for you to understand how to subtract the numbers at the bottom of this page or the fractions at the bottom of this page. Let me walk you through it. Number 4, the directions say fill in the missing numbers. So number 4 is 5 1/4 equals 4 and how many fourths? Here's the tricky part. You have to notice that the whole number here, 4, is one whole less than the whole number before it, which is 5. So in this problem, we're dealing with fourths, and a whole in this problem would be out of 4. So of course we know 4 fourths is a whole. So like when we change this 5 to a 4, we took out 4 fourths out of the 5. So since we took out 4 fourths, we need to add 4 to the 1 that's already in the fraction. So our numerator in this fraction becomes 4 5/4. Take a look at this. Think about it for a second. If I were to change 5 1/4 into an improper fraction, I would do, let's see, 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21, so it would be 21/4, right? Take a look at the other question, or the other fraction here. If I were to turn 4 5/4 into an improper fraction, I would multiply 4 times 4, which of course is 16, and then I would add 5, which would also be 21/4. So I know I have the right answer. You can use that method to check for yourself in the future. Let's move on to number 5. 6 is 5 and how many thirds? Well, gosh, this is actually kind of an easier one because 6 is a whole number. And if I took a whole out of 6 and made it 5, that means all I need is one more whole to make 6. Well, looking at my denominator, my whole in this problem is 3. So 3/3, of course, would equal 1. So 5 3/3 would also equal 6. Again, think about it. 5 times 3, if I'm changing this into improper fraction, I take the denominator 3 times 5 is 15, and then I add the numerator, which is 3, so 18. So my fraction would be 18/3, but think of it, 18/3 means 18 divided by 6, or divided by 3, which is 6. Alrighty, number 6. 3 5/6 is how many sixths? Oh, this one's actually easy. Look, they don't have a whole number in front of it, so really all you're doing is changing 3 5/6 to an improper fraction. Go ahead and do that for yourself. Check in with me when you're done. If you got 23/6, you are correct. Lastly, let's move on to number 7. 8 7/9 is how many and 16/9? Again, they keep making us work, which is good because these types of problems, questions 4, 5, 6, and 7, these will be on your end of the unit test. Plus, you need them to help you solve the types of problems like that are below here. So this is good. All right, so if I have to figure out what my whole number is, and I'm going to think about it. 8 7/9. How much did I have to add to the numerator 7 to get to 16? Well, I know that Sorry, I had to sneeze, I had to pause it. I don't remember where I was, but I think I said 8. Oh yeah, 7 goes into 16, or 7 plus what is 16? So I know that 7 plus 9 is 16, so I must have taken 9/9 out of the 8 to make it 16. So my whole number is going to be 1 less than the whole number before it. So 8 and 7/9 is the same thing as 7 and 16/9. Let's double check. 8 times 9 is 72. 72 plus 7 is 79/9. And I should likely get the same thing. Let's see. 7 times 9 is 63. 63 plus 16. Well, let's write that off to the side. Oh, wait. Yeah, 63 plus 16. Oh, 16. Yeah, that's 79. 3 plus 6 is 9. 6 plus 1 is 7. So 79/9. So I've got it right. Now, for the tough problems. First things first. All of these problems down here, you're going to need to change the first number because you're not going to be able to just subtract the number behind it without changing it. So let me show you what I mean. Number 8, our directions say to subtract and write our answers in simplest form. I'm going to underline that for myself so I don't forget, and show your work. I'm going to show my work below if I can. I'd like for you to do the same. If that doesn't work for you, you can do it on your whiteboard. So 8 minus 1/3. So first thing I know I'm going to do is I'm going to definitely drop my 8 down to a 7, and then because I'm subtracting thirds, I'm going to change 8 into 7 3/3, and then I'm just going to subtract 1/3. By the way, if you do not understand what was done in questions 4 through 7, please pause the video, ask me. I will come over. I will help you with on your whiteboard or something so you could figure that out. Because if you don't understand that, these problems are going to make 0 sense to you. Okay, anyway, 7 3/3 minus 1/3. That is an easy problem to solve now, right? So our answer is 7. Then 3 minus 1, of course, is 2. 7 2/3. Okay, let's move on to number 9. I'll walk you through this one as well, and then I might have us start to pause here in interest of time. So 5 minus 2 3/5. Again, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a whole out of the 5. So I'm going to make it 4 and something, something. Okay, well, I'm dealing with fifths in this problem, so I'm going to make it 4 5/5, which is the same thing as 5. Then I'm going to subtract 2 3/5. Go ahead and do that and check in with me. All right, so I got 2 2/5, and I know that's in simplest form because I can't divide 5 and 2 by the same number. So 2 2/5 is my answer. Let's look at number 10. This time, I want you guys to try, I'll kind of get you started, but I want you to try this yourself. So 7 1/4. I'm going to drop the 7, a whole out of the 7, so I'm going to make it a 6. Of course, I'm dealing with fourths here, so I'm putting that as my denominator. Now, think of it. I took a whole out of 7, so I took 4/4 out of 7. Add 4 to the 1 that's already there, and you should have, hopefully you have 5, just like I have there. So now, 6 5/4 minus 3 3/4. That's a simple problem now. Go ahead and solve it. Check in with me. Put it in simplest terms. If you got 3 1/2, you are correct. Number 11, 4 5/8 minus 3 7/8. Again, first step I'm going to do because, and I know I can't subtract this fraction as is because if I look, I know I can take 3 minus 4, but 7 cannot be taken away from 5. That's how I know I have to change my first number. So 4 5/8, the 4 is going to drop down to a 3, and of course I'm dealing with eighths, so I'm putting that down below. Now think to yourself, a whole is how many eighths? What am I going to add to the 5? If you said I'm going to add 8 to the 5, you are correct. So 8 plus 5 is 13, so it's 3 13/8 minus 3 7/8. Hopefully you have finished solving the problem. If you haven't, go ahead and pause it to make sure you get the same answer as me. But I did get 3 3/4 in simplest terms. My initial answer was 3 6/8. Of course, I divided the 6 and the 8 both by 2 to get 3/4. Now, last two questions. I'm going to ask you to do this first before we move on. Number 12, 6 2/9. I want you to automatically write that 5 down, drop the 6 to a 5, and put over 9. Now, without my help, I'd like for you to pause and think of what the numerator is. Remember, we are adding 2 to what the whole is here. Go ahead and check in with me when you're done. Hopefully you got 5 11/9. Now, just a reminder, the reason I needed to change it to 5 11/9 is I look at my problem, 6 2/9 minus 4 5/9. Well, of course, I know I can take 4 away from 6, but if I look at the fractions, I cannot take 5 away from 2. So that's why I have to kind of change around my mixed number, my first mixed number. Now, I have the fraction, the problem all written out. I expect that you can solve this yourself and simplify. You will need to simplify this one. Pause the video and check in with me when you're done. Hopefully you got 1 2/3. If you didn't, go ahead and check your work to see how you got where you went wrong. Okay, last question before we get our study link. 10 3/10 minus 5 7/10. Again, take a look at the problem. I know I can take 5 away from 10, but if I look at my fraction, I can't take 7 away from 3. Therefore, I need to drop down my first number, drop the 10 down to a 9, automatically put the denominator in, the 10, and now figure out what the numerator should be. Because I'm working with tenths, I'm going to have to add 10 to my numerator. I hope you're realizing that once you do that first simple step, the problem becomes a cinch. Solve this problem by yourself and check in with me. Don't forget to simplify. Your answer should have been 4 3/5. If you didn't get that answer, figure out where you went wrong. All right, looks like you're ready for Study Link 8.3. Let me show you what you have to do quickly. Questions 1 through 6 is the same type of thing that we've been doing with that first number in the subtraction problem. You are simply just changing it to a different mixed number, okay? Questions 7, 8, and 9, you may want to double check to see if you have to do that fancy changing of mixed numbers. You may find that you don't have to. And then finally, questions 10 through 15, my strong suggestion to you is to show your work on the back. Take the back, separate into 6 different sections and show your work for each of those problems on the back. Then finally, do not forget to do questions 16 through 19 and make sure to take your time. My expectation is that you should be able to know how to multiply 3-digit by 3-digit numbers at this point in the year. Good luck!